Hi, this is the Bible Ranger, and we're going to talk about Should Christians Prep Part 2, Episode 19. And there's going to be a bonus here, and the bonus is going to be this. Yes, free gold, how to get that, free silver, and free copper. And I'm not kidding. So you'll see when we get to it. All right, should Christians prep, right? 6 important categories we're going to talk about. The first one we're going to talk about, and we talked about this the first time in generality. So it'd be protection, water, which is extremely important, right? And food. I want it to be a little bit more detailed, so we're only going to talk about those 3, and we're going to talk about the bonus. But the next video we'll talk about the hygiene part, the medical part, and the energy part. All right, protection. And protection, the most obvious thing would be guns, okay? And I think I misspoke on the first one, and I call these automatic weapons, and technically really is semi-automatic weapons, which actually means one pull, one projectile, one bullet, okay? And as you can see, they have different makes, Beretta, they have Glock, and other ones, okay? So I'll just give you a quick preview. You should actually get training, real training for this, and practice, definitely practice. So this first thing here is a concealment handgun license, okay? Which when you buy this, which I'm going to tell you where to buy them, places where you can go to, other than just regular pawn shops or gun stores. So anyway, it'll look something like this per state, whatever state you're in. And I don't think our faces will look like this. At least mine doesn't. I think they put an ugly lens on that, and nobody looks like that. Okay, maybe it's just mine. But once you get it, um, there's 2 categories. You get these semi-automatics, which we talked about before, which carries more rounds and is easier to reload. Okay, but they have disadvantages. It takes a little bit more training. You always have to remember to shoot this thing. You always have to have one in the round that one's ready to go. That means even if you pull the magazine, which would be at the bottom part of this, where the handle is, there's a magazine of rounds that goes into it. Once it goes into it, there's ones that stays in the chamber. And even if you pull the magazine out, the chamber can still be fired. And that's how sometimes people get in trouble, because they think it's empty and it's not empty. So one of the easier ones um, is a revolver like this one, which is what cops used to carry in the older days. And this is a 38 special. And it's called a 6-shooter from the olden days. As you can see, that's 6 shots. And there's a lever right here that when the rounds have been expelled, this brass part is just a shell, okay? Now the bullet has gone through the barrel and has gone through and has been shot. But you push this pin in, and once you push that pin in, all this brass pops out, and you just pull them out, and then you just reload it one by one. There's devices to do a quick load, but in most cases you have to reload each one, and then you literally just close it, and it's ready to shoot. Now, this is called a hammer here, and if you don't have that pull back, the trigger here at the bottom, which you can't see too well, it's harder to pull. You can pull it. Anybody with any strength can just about pull it. But if you pull this hammer back and is ready to go, like if you've seen the cowboy movies, they're holding their weapon with one hand and the other hand is kind of going back and forth, hitting that hammer. It makes it so much easier to shoot, and it makes it more accurate. The disadvantage is that the trigger becomes very sensitive. So now very little pressure it takes to actually pull it. Now the bottom one here is a short barrel, same type of rounds. It's 38 special, but the barrels is short, as you can see. When they're shorter, it makes it less accurate. Longer barrels have more accuracy. This top one here is 6 rounds, and this bottom one here is 5 rounds. The good thing about this one is that you notice it does not have a hammer. The reason it doesn't have a hammer, it's made for women to put it into their purses, and if they ever have to pull it out of their purse, the hammer doesn't get caught in something else. You don't pull out some earplugs that goes into your phone or anything. Okay, you just don't pull it out. It just comes out effortlessly. And that's the reason for that. But the shorter barrel makes it less accurate, and it only holds 5 rounds. All right. Now, when you're looking at these semi-automatic, some of them are designed like this, where they have dots on them, and you line up the dots. As you can see this horizontal bar here, and there's a vertical bar coming down here. But you line up the dots. The dot in the middle is the barrel part, the part in the front, which might be 6 inches away from the rear. Okay, but you line up in the center, and you line up the dots in parallel, and that's all it takes. And then you have to shoot it. However, please get a lot of practice. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll be with it, and it makes you so much better. When you first do it, you get nervous. You think it's gonna blow up, like the movies. All kinds of crazy things go to your mind. But you'll notice that men as well as women will be equally as good with this once you actually practice. And if you're a small woman, and if a big person is coming your way to do you harm, it is a great equalizer. All right. Saying this, please remember that keep it safe from children. And I'm gonna have maybe not the next video, but the one after, I'm gonna go into a discussion between Christians that don't believe in any weapons whatsoever using the Bible, and then Christians using, no, we got to have a weapon using the Bible. And I'm going to try to clear the mystery with that. All right. This is one place where you can pick up weapons. Okay. This is called auctionzip.com. And all that is, it's a directory of a tremendous amount of auctions throughout the whole United States. You basically, this is not the first page, this is the second page. You type auctionzip.com and it takes you to a generic page. But once you hit right here, auction directory, you see this screen here. And you put your zip code. Like I said, this is a Virginia, this is an old address of mine. And you put that Virginia there, and you say, let's say about 30 miles away. The miles doesn't really matter, because one of these is Richmond and the other one is Norfolk, and it's about 60 miles away. So you look, these are all hyperlinks of all the auctions that have registered around your zip code. But you notice in this list here, you'll see a number. It could be 0, it could be 1, it could be 2. If there's 1, like this one here, that means there's an active one soon to come. So you press here, anywhere here or anywhere here, you press it, and then you get this page here. That's the next page. And it takes you to that particular one, and it gives you a quick description here. And then it tells you the time and the date when the actual auction is going to happen and the location right there. And over here is the photo gallery. Before you go to an auction, check out the photos to see if they actually have what you're looking for. And it is a good place. It'll be used weapons in most cases. Some auctioneers are stricter than others. Some auctioneers require you to register your weapon before you take it. And other ones, if you have your concealment weapon, like I showed you a few slides ago, you can just take it with you. Okay, you have to kind of ask questions to the auctioneer to see where you're at with that. Now, water. That's one of the 6 things that we need to talk about. Water. Water is extremely important. These are some things you can do if your power goes out. Okay, you can always buy gallons of water. Okay, and that's fine. That's like Walmart, Publix, whatever supermarket you might live. And there's a formula about how many waters it takes for one person and for a family of 4. Find out what that is. Do a little research and find out. I don't remember off the top of my head. If you happen to lose power because of, snowed in or something, your water pump might not have any power to come out. So you might need a pump like this one. And this pump, this is directly hooked up to it. But if you have an electric pump, you might have to hook this one up like in parallel, which means it goes to the same source, but it has a different branch that goes to it. And before water comes out, if you're not using it, it's going to be full of air. You have to prime it. That means you have to fill it full of liquid in order for liquid to come out. Because if it has air in it, it's not gonna take out the water. Or when things are coming like a hurricane, you can have this water bladder. okay, in this tub, and it fits perfect and it's beautiful. This red thing here, it's a pump. You push it up and down, and it has a tube here, and you fill up whatever you want, a pitcher, whatever you want to fill up. You just fill it up as much as you pump. If you have a very clean bathtub, if you're not a germaphobe, you just don't even use that bladder. You just clean your bathtub really nicely, and you scoop it up with a cup. Simple as that. Now I have one of these, and I get mine where I recommend a lot of stuff on Infowars, and wait for a sale because they cost a little bit of money, but the bottom part is the part that gets filtered, and this is a filter. You can have one filter or two filters depending how much you pay for the unit, and this is one of the water valves, and mine doesn't have this one, but this is the amount of water that's in there. That's obvious. I don't think that's really important at all. If no water comes out, it's empty. Anyway, you take out this top right here. You pull it out. Take the top off, you pull it out, put it under your faucet, and you fill it up with water. The water drips, and I mean slowly. It's reverse osmosis. And it drips very slowly, drop by drop, until this bottom gets filled with 1 or 2 gallons of water. It's not much, but it lasts for gallons and gallons, okay? Now, if your water is not as clean, this little white filter here will eventually turn a little bit of yellow. You leave it in there, you take off this top right here, and you scrub it with a Scotch-Brite. And by doing that, it'll turn white again. You don't have to buy a new one immediately. It'll last a while you doing that. And you can buy with a stand or no stand. So that's up to you. I don't have a stand on mine, but it does have to lean over the edge. And these are good too. These are the straws I call life straws. And what looks like South American kids here, they're drinking what looks like muddy water, pond water. It's that good. It's that good where you can actually put it in pond water or a river or something, and you can take water out of it, and it's very drinkable. Now, food solution. The first one was protection. Second one was water. Now, food. Canning. Okay, remember we talked about 5-gallon barrels. They're good for everything. Well, this is one thing you can do. You can do an insert of this aluminum foil here, okay? Food grade. There's always a little bit that comes out. Remember we talked about heavy metals. But look, this is a dire situation. You're not worried about perfect health. You're looking for survival, okay? So you fill it up with rice. Oh, I don't know what this is, some kind of wheat or something, maybe corn, I don't know. You take the air, as much air out as possible. You put in there desiccants, they're oxygen removers. You throw bags in there, okay? And then you take as much air as possible, you fold it up, and you put the lid on right here. I heard somebody just say that if you put some bay leaves in top of the foil, it also helps with, I think, keeping insects away. I don't know that. I just heard that. Verify yourself. This is more for long-term storage. And I don't know how long it'll last, but it'll last a while, a few years. This is more immediate, and these are like in masonry jars. You have rice here. You have pasta. Pasta lasts a long time. The bottom here, we have oatmeal. And, some people like it plain, but it's rough when it doesn't have anything to go with it, like sugar or honey or something. Beans. Beans is very important. It's probably rice over here. And more beans. Now this one is potato flakes, and that's always good too. Okay, potato flakes. This is most likely a gallon of a can. And normally when it comes like this, they usually last 25 years. I'm going to give you a source of one, and don't jump the gun. Let me finish explaining, okay? A good source of people to get this from are the Mormons. They are good people, okay? They don't have good doctrine with Jesus Christ, all right? They don't have, well, we will talk about that when we talk about cults one day. But I'm not talking about the cult. They're people, and they believe in prepping, okay? So they are a good source to buy. If you don't want to do all this yourself, you can just buy from them. Do not join their church. They're going to, of course, try to convince you. You're just interested in the food, okay? If you're easily persuaded, don't go that route at all. Okay, but I did it. They were friendly. They're trying to invite me to some fishing thing. I can defend myself against them, not a problem. I never went fishing with them, okay? But this is what they'll try to do. Now the bonus. This is it. Keeping my word here. Now, before I show you that, I want to give you this quick tip. If you do a search on the computer, duckduckgo.com, I'm not going to say Google search. That's for brainwashing. They data mined you, okay? But this is a more independent one. Please support them. It's not even money, it's just using them. You do a search on China stockpiling or Russia stockpiling. They've been doing this for several years. As if they're preparing for something, I don't know. Okay, I'm just letting you know it's other nations are doing it. They're stockpiling on gold, they're stockpiling on silver, and down here is the food. Okay? Now, they were doing this, you might say, that's because of Corona. Yeah, there's some stockpiling because of Corona, but this is going on even way before that. Now, like I said, they're preparing for, food, silver, and gold. They're getting ready for something, but I don't know what it is. Now, this is how you get your free silver, gold, and it's going to be free. It's going to take a little doing, and it's not as easy as it used to be. Over here is a roll of coins. These are silver dollars, half dollars, okay? If you were to get a brick of those in the bank or credit union, it's going to cost you like $500. You do not have to spend $500 to get them. You are simply transferring your dollars into coins. You haven't spent any money. You transferred your money, okay? So you go in there and you ask for one. You might have to order it, okay? When I did it with silver dollars, I did it one time, I got no silver out of that one, okay? That would be the most silver you would get. But I've done it with dimes. It takes a lot of work because you have to go through each single one. But you don't have to actually, the year that's important is 1964 right here. Anything that's 1964, that's silver metallic looking, it's silver. It's 90% silver, okay? So if you see a coin, always look at it. And if it's 1964, it's 90% silver. Now, in the old days, I used to put them back in a roll, and you have to put your account number and your name and your address. It was a pain, okay? However, these days, they have change machines. And because of these change machines, it senses if something is actually really copper or really silver. So they put it to the side, and they keep those silvers for themselves. So you don't want, this is going to be a little harder to do, but it can still be done. If they ask you, which they did to me, well, what are you doing with these? It's none of their business, okay? They don't need to know. First of all, if they know, they're going to be your competition. And because they work there, they're going to keep an eye on all the silver, and they're going to keep most of it to themselves. They're going to, if they pull out $1 worth of silver dimes, they're going to buy that. They're not stealing it. They're just buying it, okay? So don't tell them. Just say you collect coins, which is exactly what you're doing, and just smile. Don't say anything else. And they'll feel that kind of like that dumb feeling, I better not ask any more questions, and they'll leave you alone. So please don't tell them. You're just making more competition. All right. Now, this is the easiest one to get. That was the free silver. The free copper would be, you do the same thing, but copper is a little harder because now you have to go to each one. Okay, that's a little harder to do. Any copper penny that's 1981 and earlier, in other words, 1980, 1979, they are 95% copper. Save all that. That's worth more than a penny, okay? However, if they're from 1982, some of those are copper and some of those are not. There's a couple of ways. I'm going to try this, but you might not be able to hear it. One way is a sound. You'll get used to that sound after a while. The one that's really copper, it sounds more metal. And the one that's zinc, it'll sound like a twangy sound. If not, but when you look at them, the copper one, the strike on the face is more pronounced. It looks deeper, and it has a nicer looking color. I can't describe that to you, but until you do enough of these, that's it. But just it's going to take some time, but you can get a lot of copper like that, and there's plenty of it out there. Now the gold. I haven't had a chance to do this. This is supposed to be AU over here. AU is a chemical symbol for copper. But It involves acid, so be careful, wear your goggles, be safe. But when you do it, your computer parts and your old phones, anything that connects, that looks like brass here in a computer or a phone, is most likely coated, not solid, but it's coated with gold, because gold is a very good conductor. It's not the best, but it's a very good conductor. And the Intel chips, the motherboards, they have some. The motherboards, these are the motherboards. There's some in some of the connections, so I think you have to break that one up too. And you notice this person is using a pair of needle nose to break these connections off. And he's going to put them in some kind of barrel. And you're going to get a very little, probably the size that you're looking at this, I never done it, like I said, but it might be a tenth of that size. But it's free, and you have to buy the acid. But other than that, it's free. And if you do enough of it, you saved enough old computers. People don't want their computer, they throw it away, you pick them up. It's free though. And I already said that. So be safe, make sure you wear your goggles. Oh, one more thing. When you start doing it, you'll probably get stuff like this, which is like flaky looking gold. It'll look like almost like gold dust. And there's another step to this where you put enough of this flakes into this, it looks like a little cup that takes a lot of heat, and you heat it up, and eventually you come up with something like this. So it's a little bit more involving. All right. Now the most important thing is prepping for heaven, right? And with Jesus is the ultimate protection. And I'm comparing that to weapons. And Jesus, with him, you'll never thirst. Comparing that to water, right? And he is the bread of life. Don't forget, we got to repent. We got to make him Lord of our life, Lord of Lords, and King of Kings. And I forgot to say this at the very beginning, but a lot of people watched the video prior to this one, but I still need some subscribers to help grow the YouTube here. And please pass it down to your friends. If you found this to be valuable, please subscribe. It's easy to do. This same screen here in a few seconds, it'll pop up the Bible Ranger. You just click on it and then you just subscribe. It's really simple. Give it a thumbs up, please. If you're not going to do anything, at least give it a thumbs up and spread the news. And thank you very much. I appreciate your looking. And this is the Bible Ranger, keeping the Bible simple. And one more thing, and yet, rich in content. I just want to say this, that don't forget the video either after this one or the one after, it's going to get deeper into the Word. Thank you very much.